Hello, all. Welcome to History with R&R. Welcomes, Danny Christopher. I always say Mr. CCDV in the title because I already created a playlist before he changed his name.
That's
Uh,
fine. I'll go back to Mr.
no.
CCDV.
This is fine. This is fine. Why not? It'll be the one show where we don't call you the absent-minded professor or
Well, yeah.
the.
Still scares the crap out of me that people I've known are going to watch some of these videos and then go, well, that's not how it happened.
Yeah. Want to make a bet? I don't care what it said on CNN. Yeah, it's funny. And hello, Thomas Potts, and hello, Mary's Game Room, my love, and of course, I believe
Rabid slug ouchies.
Rabbit Slug Ouchies. These names, they make my head hurt. Anyway, my brain works slow work brain.
Oh, we come up with the greatest, don't we?
Oh yeah. One of these days, I'm gonna put my YouTube name is out of order.
I've considered it, actually.
Out of order. Do not replace. Do not do not fix. On vacation. All right. So, but before I have to deal with my temper going into full swing, and Mary knows why, because Amazon pisses me off. Before I have to deal with stupid, let's talk about something interesting. So we left off last week with now. I do want to say that for everyone that doesn't know, because there's maybe I think two or three that still don't know. Um, when you are under Mr. CCDV, what does Mr. CCDV stand for?
Conservative Christian Disabled Veteran.
There we go. Yes, I still remember that, and you told me that over a year ago.
Well, it's easy. It's CCDV.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I first opened my YouTube channel, I was like, what is my name going to be? And I kept thinking and thinking and thinking. And I thought to myself, I said, there are two things that define me. And now there's three things that define me. I'm the drunk guy. I guess you could say conservative Christian.
No. See, now I have to take umbrage with that because of my dad. So on my father's behalf, I have to take umbrage with that.
Okay.
You're not a drunk. A drunk goes to AA meetings because they admit they have a problem.
That's an alcoholic.
No, that's a drunk.
Okay.
An alcoholic also goes to AA meetings and admits they have a problem. My dad, I don't have a problem at all.
Got it.
Yes. That's funny. My dad used to crack me up with those. But anyway, so moving on. So the other two.
Other two.
You said three things that define you.
Oh yeah, I said I'm a drinker, heavy drinker.
Yeah, that's one.
People were worried about me drinking, and then Christianity, of course, my faith.
Yes.
And then I am a disabled veteran.
Yes.
I didn't get disabled during the war.
No.
But my disability separated me from the Army. So there you go. I didn't get to retire. Makes me sad.
Oh, that's not good.
That's all right.
Yes, but we will get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still a little bit bitter about it, of course.
Oh, well, yeah, you gotta be. It's part of human nature. I still hate the fact that I have to say retired.
I actually like telling people that I'm retired now.
Oh.
They're like, oh, you're so young. I go, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I saved a bunch.
I'd
Suckers.
still rather be working.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that theory. Yeah. Um, so we left off with you with right before going, well, kind of teetering on the beginning of Iraq.
Yeah, we had gone into Kuwait and set up and packed up all our equipment and blew up the berm between Iraq and Kuwait. The one that a berm is just a mound of dirt, but it
Yes.
had been built up there after the first Gulf War back in '91. Uh, just kind of a border berm, really. I mean, it wouldn't have kept out anybody who was serious about going in either
Well, yeah.
way, which obviously didn't stop us from going in.
No.
So, but I do want to correct a mistake from last week. The invasion was the 19th of March, 2003. And I believe I kept saying it was in the 20s somethings. So it's the 19th of March in 2003. The night before, we were staring down the long, long line of trucks and armored vehicles and looking at the northern horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept going, good Lord, I'm scared.
Yeah, I would imagine. Like a lot of us can sit back and go, "Hey, I'd be fine. It'd be great. It'd be awesome." And then, but it's a very different thing to know I could be shot at tomorrow.
Yeah, driving a fuel truck.
It's a very sobering thought. I would imagine. I've never had it per se myself, but I can just imagine that's one heck of a sobering thought. I could be shot tomorrow.
Yeah, you stand there at sunset and you contemplate what's going to happen tomorrow, and you think to yourself, you better get home.
Yeah.
And
I have
then
a
you turn
mama
around
that
and you
will.
go join your buddies and you go, haha, yeah, we're going to kick some ass
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Woo!
yeah. The masculinity comes out, and it's like
Of
I'm gonna,
course.
nothing could happen to me.
The
Yeah,
braggadocio and everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, so now, obviously, being a fueler, you're not, cleaning your guns and getting things. So, what does a prep for something like that look like the day
Well,
before?
you are supposed to clean your guns.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
That's the
like,
whole
you're not.
point. You keep it
Yeah, but you're not
working.
getting ready to,
Oh,
breach a
right.
wall,
Yeah. I
right?
mean,
So, what is a prep for a fueler on something like that?
oh, an adventure like that. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
um, I mentioned the Hemet, the 8-wheeled vehicle.
Yes.
And normally we drove fuel Hemets, which are 2,500-gallon fuel tanks on the back of the 8-wheeled mobile tactical truck. um, however, we had cargo Hemets as well as 5-ton trucks and bunch of trailers and this, that, and the other thing, whatever we could stuff things into a nook and cranny. We're talking, I think I mentioned this before, we had hundreds of hoses.
Yes.
And let's see, we had 2 different fuel systems in 2003.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Yeah. I don't think we intended to have 2 different fuel systems when we first went in. I think it was just meant to be the one fuel system in the south. And then one, when we basically just walked into Baghdad,
Yeah.
and they said we need a fuel system up here too. And so we kind of cut our systems in half and took what supplies we had remaining and then borrowed a bunch from some other place and went and
Yeah.
set up a system up in or near Baghdad.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean second platoon did that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I,
So,
I, I
but the
stayed
night
at
before the
Dogwood the
big
whole
push,
time.
what are you guys doing? Just checking to make sure you don't embarrass yourself and the fuel truck run out of fuel.
Oh yeah,
Because that would be bad.
securing the loads, making sure there was fuel in the fuel trucks, making sure there was fuel in our vehicles, pulling
Well, there's that
preventive
too. Yeah, that
maintenance.
would be
Yeah,
rather embarrassing.
pulling preventive maintenance on every piece of equipment. And like I said, we had taken most of our equipment from Colorado,
Yeah.
and so that got shipped over. We were checking maintenance on those, and then we also drew from uh, stores that were in Kuwait, and we're talking about stores that had been there since '91. So these are 5-speed transmission, 5-ton trucks, and everything we had in 2003 was automatic. So our platoon sergeants and yeah, our platoon sergeants, basically squad leaders, were going through to find out who could drive a manual transmission
Okay.
because, well,
Not
not a
everybody
lot of
can these
people,
days.
not a lot of people do
Well,
anymore.
see, I could drive my grandmother's '57 Chevy, but when you drive a '57 Chevy, you pick up bad habits
Yeah,
because in a '57 Chevy grain truck, you had this wonderful game when you were driving that truck of finding the gear. I don't know if anybody has had to do that with a standard, but you
yeah.
have to
Well,
find the gear. So you're
if you can't
you're
find it,
going
grind it.
like this, going like this a couple of times, and then you find the gear. Well, in a modern standard, if you do that, the transmission doesn't like you very much.
No, no, it really doesn't.
And you pick up these bad habits, and also the clutches are way more forgiving in the '57 Chevys than these damn clutches and these new pieces of junk. But uh, yeah, one of these days I'll tell the story about the time that my cousin almost killed my grandmother's garden with her grain truck. Um, well, my grandmother's garden was at the bottom of a hill. At the top of the hill was Grandpa's garage, and beside the Grandpa's garage always big blue, which was the blue '57 Chevy grain truck that my grandmother had
Right.
converted.
Okay. You know what? You go ahead and tell this story because I need to go refill my drink.
Okay,
I'll be
so
right back.
my cousin, being young and dumb, got into the truck and popped the clutch, and the truck started to roll down the hill. So, being the young and stupid me, I ran after the truck, jumped into the driver's seat, and stood on the brake until Grandma got there to move the truck back so that it didn't fall into the Grandma's garden and kill people. Welcome, Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Welcome, Mark the Inflatired, Brightest Day. Welcome, Mr CCDV or Danny Christopher has gone to go get his drink refreshed, and then I sidelined on to a farm story. Don't ask why. Loki, a rapid slug ouchie is a multi-personality of Kronos. Um,
Well, it's definitely a multi-personality.
yeah, there's that. um, and all right, so enough farm stories. We're here for your stories, not my brain going into weird memories. All right, I don't know. It's just I started thinking about the grain truck going down a hill. But yeah, because my cousin
So
popped the clutch.
we actually had to give lessons to a couple of people on how to drive a 5-speed.
Okay.
So that we were doing that for prep as well. But of course, I know how to drive everything. So I was assigned as a driver for one of the 5-tons, not a fuel
Okay.
truck. The fuel
So
trucks were still all automatic.
okay. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess it's for convenience, right? Not everybody
Hmm.
knows how to drive sticks, so
So yeah, the that's mainly what we were doing is checking cargo loads, and of course, you don't want everything of one type on one vehicle, right? You don't want one vehicle of all pumps,
yeah,
and one vehicle of all filter separators, and one vehicle of all hoses, and one vehicle of all bags. So we were splitting them up as much as we could, so the fuel systems were completely distributed throughout all the cargo vehicles.
yeah.
Uh, I think I think we had four 5,000-gallon tractor trailers with us as well.
Okay, so now
And
I do have to ask the question that pops into my mind because just as a civilian, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, so you've got this truck. It has a major gas tank on the back. Do you ever wonder how about? I must be either drunk or crazy to drive a bomb into a war zone. Because that's essentially what you are.
well, the funny thing about that is fuel, and we will get to into a little more detail on this at a later date, but fuel is not actually flammable.
Yeah, it's not like the movies. One shot, it
Yeah,
goes boom. Yeah.
right. I mean, you could shoot a tracer round, the kind that light up red when you shoot it, right? That's got
Yeah.
phosphorus on it, which makes it light up red when you shoot it. You could shoot one of those into a fuel tank, and the fuel tank still won't blow up.
Yeah.
Uh, of course, it takes heat and spark and air. There's plenty of air and plenty of fuel,
Mm-hmm.
but you need heat,
Mm-hmm.
and a rifle round or a pistol round just doesn't generate enough heat. Period. Whether
Yeah.
it be a regular ball round without the phosphorus or a tracer round with the phosphorus, it just doesn't generate enough heat. That's all there
Yeah.
is to it. So what you get is a hole in the tank.
Yeah. You sprung a leak, lad. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like the movies where they shoot two shots at it and it explodes, right?
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing about that is if a rocket propelled grenade
Yeah.
hits the tank, then of course it'll blow up. There's
Yes.
plenty of heat on that.
Yeah. Just a tad and a little bit of shrapnel. So how
But
armored are the trucks that you're driving?
oh, that was one of the other things that we had to do to prep for the invasion. Armor up the vehicles.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Well, it was fun E.
Yeah. Okay. Define fun E.
All right, modern armor is combination of different materials that deflect or stop uh, modern rounds,
Yeah.
and some of it is ablative, which means when it gets hit, a layer of it falls off, and there's a layer underneath.
Yeah.
That's modern armor. That's the stuff that's being used today in military vehicles. Is
Yeah.
multi-layered armor panels on the side of vehicles. What we had was 3/4 inch steel plates that were cut to the size of the door of the vehicle we were driving.
Okay.
And the Humvees, the Hummers,
Yeah.
uh, they mostly had material doors, right? Canvas or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
plastic or something. And so the hinges for the Humvees wouldn't support the weight. And so some people were putting the steel plates inside the doors. So
Oh well.
trying to get in and out of a Humvee while a steel plate is sitting on the frame inside the door. So you open the door, you pull out the steel, you get in, you put the steel back in, you close the door.
That sounds labor intensive.
Most everybody just went, screw it.
Yeah.
But the
This is
steel
too
on
much like work.
the
Um,
steel for the 5-ton doors hung with hooks from the window. So you roll the window down, you hang the steel, you roll the window up. Hopefully it fits and you can roll the window up.
yeah, or it gets a
Uh,
little drafty.
but the steel was so heavy that it kept bending the hinges. So
Oh
we'd have
no.
to lift the door in order to get it to latch.
You'd think that they'd figure this stuff out before you hit the land. That hinge needs reinforcement. We should do that in the factory. You'd think, like,
Well,
just a thought.
I think the steel plates as armor was a last minute thought.
This was not just those trucks over there look a little lightly armed. Do we got any steel plates kicking around? We'll do like in World War II. When they put the tank tracks on the front of the tank that now it's been proven did absolutely nothing. Yeah, we'll just put that on the side of the truck. Yeah, that'll work.
And it would have done absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
We weren't the only convoy with those things hanging off our doors.
Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, that sounds like a last minute. We should have picked the armored section of this. This is a bad idea. All right, well, whatever. Um,
Yeah, so
these ones came
that's
with leather seats.
that's
Yeah.
basically what we were doing beforehand. We
Okay, so now, um, obviously these are military vehicles, so that they don't like when a lot of people think Hummer, they think the Humvees use the bad replicas you see on the street right now
yeah,
that are
well,
not anywhere near as wide, uh, and they have comforts like leather seating.
right.
Um,
Oh, and leg space. Don't
oh
forget they
yes, and
have
leg
leg
space.
space.
Yes, they have leg space. Yes,
I've
and
never
then
actually been inside a Hummer, a commercial Hummer.
yeah,
I can't even. The first time I saw a commercial Hummer on the road, I was like, yeah, no, that's funny.
yeah, it
I
is.
don't care who you are. That's funny.
Although the H1s, they do have a couple of them. Like they're more expensive, but you can get and in some places they're not street legal. That's why they shrunk them, because in some places they're not street legal because they're too wide. But yeah.
Oh, cramming yourself up into one of those things is. Oh, especially with the body armor.
Oh, I can imagine.
You're wearing body armor and the seat doesn't move and you're crushed up against the steering wheel. Your legs are bent up to your chest.
Yeah, yeah.
Your knees are bouncing on the underneath the dashboard and everything. Oh,
Yeah, and I
it's
wouldn't
so
imagine
much
that
fun to drive.
that they pay for those high performance shocks either. Um, I don't think they get the high performance shock package on these suckers. I bet. Um,
No, the motors on them are pretty fantastic, actually.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Ooh, turbocharged diesel. So Humvees really can zoom, zoom, zoom. It's
Well,
just a
they're the
matter of
replacement for the
controlling
Beat.
them while you're zooming.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got all your stuff
So
all
the
prepped. Sorry, go ahead.
well, I was going to say the roads that were cut to get to Camp New York and the other camps near the berm and all that. They were cut with basic engineering scrapers. Those great big vehicles with the blade that hangs underneath,
Yeah.
cants to the side, right? That's how the roads were cut getting up there. And you know what that does to dirt, basically. It
Mm-hmm.
just creates a washboard, a complete
Yeah.
washboard all the way down. So we're talking 60 miles, I think,
Oof.
or more. I'm not even sure how far
My
it
back
was.
hurts just thinking about it.
That washboard. And you're right. There is absolutely very little suspension whatsoever on
Yeah.
those trucks. Whew, I couldn't even ride a mile in one these days. Imagine
No.
driving that long.
Although I guess the bone. Well, I don't know. What's your normal rollout speed?
We were supposed to keep it down to 25 miles an hour.
Okay, so that's not as bad as going.
Ironically, I don't know if you've seen the show. The Mythbusters did a washboard um, scenario where they created a washboard for vehicles to see
Mm-hmm.
if going slower or faster was better.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out going faster is smoother, but you lose control.
Yeah, way easier. Yeah.
However, uh, there are multiple reasons why convoys and or city traffic inchworms. You know what I mean by inchworming, like accordion
Yeah.
style traffic. Where you go fast, like 40 miles an hour for about a minute, and then you
Yeah.
slow down to a stop, and then you go fast for about 40 minutes or for a minute, and then you come to
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
complete stop and all that stuff. That's what was happening throughout the entire time we were driving. Is a vehicle up front would slow down so that the vehicle in front of him could get far enough ahead where he could get up to 35 miles an hour so that the washboard effect was minimized,
Yeah.
but it slowed everyone else in the convoy all the way down to nothing. I
Yeah.
mean, we were accordioning, inchworming all the way up to Camp New York. It was just horrible.
Yeah. I would imagine.
At,
Not a day to have road rage, is what you're telling me.
at one point, I just started going 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I can't miss them. They're pluming dust up behind them for
Yeah.
you know
Oh, that
50
must have
feet
been
up in the
brutal. The
air.
dust that would have been kicked up must have been
Oh,
just.
it was so much fun when the dust came back. A lot of times it was a side breeze, so that was all right,
Mm-hmm.
or frontal breeze, and that was all right. But when the wind was blowing in your face, oh,
Yeah.
oh
Visibility
man,
has now gone to 0. Have fun, folks.
are my
Yeah.
eyelids made of sandpaper?
These windshield wipers were not designed for sand. What the heck?
Wear your dust
Um,
goggles. I am wearing my dust
Just
goggles.
goggles. Yeah. 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 I can imagine that would be rather interesting. So we got to the berm getting blown. So what happens after that? I assume the armor goes first. You wait a bit, and then you go ahead, or do you all move as one?
It took, I'm going to say, at least half the day for our convoy to go across the berm.
Okay.
Uh, so yes, you're right. The fighting vehicles and the tanks went
Yeah.
first naturally.
Yeah. Naturally, you let the guys with the big guns go first.
Hey, let's have the fuel company go first. That'll be funny.
Yeah, it would be funny. Not for the people in the trucks, but
No, the fighting vehicles did go first, and I don't think there was any resistance at the border. I don't.
Okay.
I haven't gone back to watch news reports or anything like that because I kept thinking to myself, I was there.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't need to see
and
this.
and to be fair, there's probably a few things you don't want to see again. To be fair.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So you guys finally get the order to move out. So are you moving out to, like, from one position to another fixed position, or are you, because like,
Well,
has the
that's the
armor gone to
thing.
a point where, okay, they've secured this spot, we're moving up to this spot, or is it just we're moving out and we're not sure where we're stopping?
That was the thing, is we had an objective RAM, which I've mentioned before. I think objective RAM. That's where we set up our first fuel system. Okay, and that was somewhere near. It was in the south of Iraq, somewhere near Talil, I believe.
Okay.
I'm not positive on that though. It may have even been closer to Baghdad, for all I know.
All right.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never looked it up on a map.
No, that's fine. You were there. It doesn't matter.
Um, but I wasn't in charge of navigation, so it didn't
No,
matter to me.
no, no. You were grunt. You were drive truck. I drive truck. They tell me where to drive truck.
Oh, hey, you know what? I just remembered we drove through Babylon before we got there.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, we had to have been close to Baghdad.
Well, there you
Huh.
go.
Well, whatever. Anyway, no, that was our objective.
Okay.
So I guess technically, yes, we were going from one fixed position to another.
Yeah.
However, there was no stopping in between.
Well, yeah. There's yeah. So now, just because I'm curious, uh, the armor moves forward,
Yeah,
and or as I'm going to put it, the guys with the big guns go
the
forward.
spearhead. Yeah,
Yeah. Now, do you have let's go to the Arctic convoys where they had a couple of destroyers or uh, military, gunships to protect them as that convoy, the less armored convoy, moves ahead. Do you have some, or is it just Humvees with
I
guns
learned
on them?
I learned this later um, when I was talking to some guys in one of my leadership training courses because they were there as well and they were in Bradley's. They said, "Oh, hey, the fuel company. I know that. Yeah, we were assigned to security for you guys." So we didn't know, but there was a company or a squad of Bradleys that were surrounding us the entire time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
Oh no,
All we
but
knew is that we
that
were
would have been
driving.
helpful information.
It would have been nice, yeah. So every time we went off into it's called a herringbone. When you take the fish bones, right? You take the fillets and you hold up the head, and there's all these
Yeah,
little herringbones off of the spine. We
yeah.
call that a herringbone for a convoy, right? And so
Okay.
your convoy is driving down the middle of the road, and then the convoy commander says herringbone, and everybody goes off to the sides. So the first truck in the lead goes to the left, the second truck goes to the right, the third truck goes to the left, and it creates a herringbone looking formation. And
Okay.
so the drivers and passengers get out and you lay down on the ground and you hold your rifle out. Remember, we've got live rounds.
Yeah.
The magazine is locked, but the chamber is unloaded. So there's
Okay.
no round in the chamber. There's not supposed to be rounds in the
In
chamber.
the chamber, yeah. However,
Unless you are told to load a round in the chamber. We just have the magazines locked and no round in the chamber. Weapons
mhm.
unsafe. And we're just laying there next to the truck with our rifles pointed out.
Yeah.
Well, with the information I gathered later on, we were more likely to hit a Bradley infantry fighting vehicle than we were going to hit the enemy at any point.
Yeah, because they would have been hitting the enemy long before you ever got to them. Yeah.
We were completely surrounded by security. We had the infantry fighting vehicles, the Bradleys, around us,
But I
and
find that interesting that they didn't tell
they
you. Oh,
didn't
by the
tell
way,
us that we had security. I
such
know.
battalion is running point for you guys. So but I just would there be a reason why, or is it just you didn't need to know?
We didn't need to know.
Okay.
I'm hoping the company commander knew, but I can't guarantee that.
Just they don't need to know that. Although I don't know. It just to me that just sounds so weird. It's like, wouldn't you just tell? By the way, guys, you got 5 or 6 Bradleys. They're on your points. You're good.
There is a saying that company commanders study tactics and generals study logistics.
Ah,
And so I don't even know who the general of the 3rd Infantry Division was at the time that we were there. But I'm positive that he had his fuel, food, and water assets covered the entire time.
yeah,
I'm absolutely positive of that. However, we didn't know.
yeah. We were just told what we were doing that minute.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Yeah. So
that's pretty standard practice for support units.
yeah, yeah. You're just told you will go here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um. So obviously,
Oh,
uh,
and we had overhead cover as well.
well, yeah, you had the
Right.
Air Force, yeah.
Yeah, Air Force and the aviation units of the Army were there as
Yeah.
well. So, yeah, the um, Apache gunships,
Ah,
they were in
yes.
the air. And of course, the Air Force was overhead the whole time. And, so we were probably a lot safer than we thought we were.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. Uh, we have big guns. They're focused on every point. You're good.
We were okay, so fair enough. We were undoubtedly safer than we thought we were.
We have these wonderful things called missiles. Um,
So let's say that the drive from the border of Iraq and Kuwait to Baghdad is 200 miles. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I
yeah,
really
yeah.
don't know what the mileage is, but let's say it's 200 miles.
Okay.
Took us 4 days to get there.
Wow.
And we didn't stop driving the entire time, except for minor times when we would stop, do the herringbone thing, and lay on our stomachs for a few minutes.
So,
But
do you switch off drivers, or is it one driver for the whole 4 days?
we were supposed to switch off drivers.
Okay.
At one point, everybody just said, "Oh, you're driving. Oh, you're driving. Oh, you're driving."
Is his
Because
eyes still open? Yeah. Okay, you can drive.
there were those of us who could actually make the drive without falling asleep.
Yeah.
And then there were others who would get behind the wheel and drive for about 15 minutes and then start swerving off to the side. It's like, okay, well, I got a 10-minute nap. I'll take over driving again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've driven 22 or no, what was it? 25 hours straight, and that darn near killed me. Um, I that would be insane.
The
Four
funny thing
days
is,
straight.
my co-driver kept going on and on about me leaving my left foot on the clutch. And
Okay.
I wasn't riding the clutch. I mean, riding the clutch means you have the clutch pushed in
Yeah.
halfway so that you only get so much power going
Yeah.
through the engine. I wasn't doing that. I had it in first gear, maybe second gear, depending on how fast we were going. I just was resting my foot on the clutch pedal,
Ah, yeah.
which again, for me, standard practice. If I were in first gear for a long time, I'd move my left foot. But
Yeah.
sometimes you'd have to shift down to second, shift back up to first, and all that other stuff. And she kept yakking in my ear the entire time. You're riding the clutch. You're going to burn it out. It's like, no, I don't think I will.
Oh, I used to laugh because talking clutches makes me think of my uncle, because my uncle drove truck,
Mm.
and when somebody would get in his truck and drive it for the first time, my uncle would always be present to watch them drive the truck. And the minute they hit that clutch the second time, he hit their hand. Because as far as my uncle was concerned, once you have it into first gear, you never touch that
You
clutch again. You
just
son of a.
float the gears. dummy.
If you touch that clutch again, I'm gonna hit you. Yeah.
Just float the gears, dummy.
Yeah. Yeah. But so
Anyway, yeah, so 4-day convoy, boy. And there would be maintenance stops where we'd have to stop, check the engine oil.
yeah.
If it cooled down long enough, or if you kept the engine running, sometimes you could get the radiator cap off and check the radiator, see if you needed to add water or something like that.
Yeah. Obviously,
One of
fuel
these,
stops.
yeah, one of these stops, I actually had the chance to check the radiator. Do you know what it looks like when oil and antifreeze mix?
No.
It looks like chocolate milk.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And so I pulled the radiator cap off and I went, oh boy, chocolate milk. I've blown a head gasket. Wonderful.
Oh.
And I told my squad leader. Squad leader told the platoon sergeant. Platoon sergeant told uh, uh, the XO
Yeah.
or platoon leader or something. Went all the way up the chain, came all the way back down, said, is it still running? I said, yes. And it went all the way up the chain and it came all the way back down. Keep
Continue
dropping
driving.
it.
Well, are we going to fix it? Nah, I don't have time. Keep driving. Still
At
runs,
that
don't it?
point,
Yeah. All right.
at
Well,
that point, I think we had lost. Well, we had lost at least 2 vehicles at that point. The
no.
engine seized up or
Yeah.
something,
Okay. So mechanical issues, not.
Yeah, mechanical issues. And so some of the vehicles were double stuffed.
Oh.
So at one point before we finally got to Objective Ram, I had 3 people in my cab. There were 4 people in one of my friend's cabs, and I mean we're talking about seating. Some of the vehicles were meant to have 3 people in them, not 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Some vehicles were meant to have 3 people with a little extra space, so you could fit 4 people in, not 5.
Billy's riding with you. Where?
The
On the roof?
the Hemmets were never meant to have more than 1 person in or 2 people in them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's a great big center cowl that is between the driver and the passenger, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no seating in the back. It's literally just the cowl itself, and there was 2 of those Hemmets with people riding on the cowl.
Oh, that must have been fun.
And then at some point, oh no, it was okay. That's right. Every 5 ton had a like 2 by 2, 2 foot by 2 foot area cleared out in the truck with a 5 gallon bucket.
Okay.
The Hemmets didn't have that, so a lot of the 5 tons were sharing space for people to do their business.
Yes, go to the bathroom.
And other people just screw it, sat by a tire and went.
Yeah. So that's 4 days in a truck. I assume the smell was a little bad.
You think?
just tad.
Well, let's see. Have you ever known someone who refused to take a shower at school after gym class?
Yes.
Okay. Multiply that by 4 people for 4 days.
Yeah.
And then some people were not burying their business.
Oh, lovely.
And so it would sit in that 5 gallon bucket for 4 days.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, so you've got a portable outhouse. Tremendous.
And of course, some people were not securing the 5 gallon buckets, so they tipped over and spilled in the back of the truck.
Yeah. Those are what we call special people. And there's a special place for special people. Yes.
Yeah, that was one of those times I'll never forget.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the convoy. when I talk about the convoy, that was the convoy that I talk about.
Yeah.
4 days of stress, laughter, joking, punching, sitting, waiting, eating, pooping, all of it. All in 4 days, all in a 5-ton truck.
Yeah. My house has wheels, literally. Think we could
At,
get on the next model? You think you can add about a meter this way, meter that way? Just stop.
there was. We did stop for fuel,
Yeah, of course. How
although
heavy? Like how fuel? Uh, how much of a fuel pig are those vehicles? I would imagine the Hemmets are.
oddly enough, the Hemmets aren't nearly as fuel intensive as the fighting vehicles.
Yeah.
The
Well, yeah. Your
Yeah, I mean you're talking
Abrams
about
one is like, I've gone a
the
block. I need some fuel.
the Abrams. Yeah, the Abrams tanks were that way. That's a turbine engine in the back of the Abrams
Yeah.
tank, and so you're talking about a jet engine on the back of a 70-ton vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's only a portable heater. It's fine.
Yeah, actually, we did use it as a portable heater on field exercises, but
Yeah.
uh, anyway, so those went through fuel like crazy. The
Mm-hmm.
Bradleys had a regular diesel engine, so they went through fuel a lot like the Hemmets did. The Humvees had a smaller tank, so we all pretty much tanked up all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The smaller engine with the smaller tank would go farther. The larger engine with the larger tank would go about the same distance. It was the Abrams that were the fuel hogs on that
Yeah.
convoy because they had like 400-gallon tanks and they would go through those in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And so
Can
we
I
were
just get the
constantly
hose
refueling
connected to the
those.
back of this thing? Because I'm tired of stopping.
Well, that's the thing is unrepping on the move. Uh, unrep. What does that stand for? I can't even think of what the acronym stands for.
Who
Well,
cares?
basically, you don't stop moving.
Yeah.
And so the fuel Hemmet drives as fast as it can up to the next vehicle and then slows down to match pace with it. And you throw the hose over and the hose goes in the tank and then you pump a bunch of gallons and they toss the hose back and you race up to the next one and you toss the hose down and they put the hose in the tank and they toss it back. And behind you is one of the 5 tons with MREs and water and
Mm-hmm.
a trash bag. Or no, the trash truck was third. Right. So
Okay.
they'd throw the cases of MREs and water down, and then the guys on the tanks would throw the trash back in
Yeah.
the trash truck, and that's the way it went during.
Yeah. That's refueling on the go. Yeah.
Yeah, basically refueling on the go. There was one point where it was dead of night, right, and for some reason, for some reason our company, I think it must have been the first night that we were out there because I don't recall doing it the next 2 or 3 nights. The first night we went to Blackout Drive, which basically means there's a little tiny light bulb on the front of your truck
Mm-hmm.
that is mostly covered up and you can't see anything beyond 2 or 3 feet in front of
Yeah.
you. And then there's a red light on the back of the truck in front of you that you're supposed to follow.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of the division and support elements were all in white light conditions, meaning full headlights, brake lights, everything. But for some reason, our company went to Blackout Drive.
Mm-hmm.
The only company in the entire division that went blackout.
Oh, lovely.
And if I remember correctly, there were 5 or 6 pairs of night vision goggles for the entire company.
Uh,
Yeah. So,
Houston, I sense a problem.
and there were vehicles going both ways, right? We weren't just going north.
Yeah,
There were
yeah,
vehicles that were going south, checking on things or running reports back and forth or whatever the case may be. There were vehicles going south as well, and they were in white light conditions. And so, just as your eyes start to get used to the dark and you can just barely see that little red light on the truck behind in front of you, here comes another Humvee with its white lights on.
and there goes
I'm
your night
blind. I'm
vision.
blind.
It's like that one jerk off who's got his high beams on the highway. Yeah.
And then during that hour, because it really did only last about an hour, or at least it felt like it did, uh, one of our trucks rolled over.
Oh.
Yeah, swerved too far to the right, hit the ditch, and rolled over. And so the entire convoy stopped, and nobody knew why. And here comes the platoon sergeant. Specialist Christopher, come on, we got an accident. And I go, oh shit. So I dug around in my pack real quick and found my combat lifesaver bag and jumped out of the truck and ran forward as fast as I could.
Mm-hmm.
I got up there and they had already pulled him from the vehicle. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Start with the head. Okay. And I put my fingers behind his neck and I said, does this hurt? And I could feel the swelling on the back of his neck. I was like, oh, does this hurt? Ow. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I put the neck brace on. I
Yeah.
moved down and his shoulder was messed up. And I said, well, there's not much I can do about that. I don't have anything for shoulders. Okay. So I kept moving down. And his lower spine, I was like, does this hurt? Ah, ow, ow, ow. And I was like, okay, get that backboard over here.
Yeah.
I went through the whole thing.
Yeah.
He didn't have any lacerations, or if he did, they weren't real. They weren't bleeders, So
Yeah.
I was just finishing the evaluation and doing the trauma stuff first when a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
a colonel who
Oh,
was a
lovely.
doctor, showed up. I don't know if he was under orders to do this or not, but he
Mm-hmm.
looked at the guy and he flashed his flashlight in his eyes and he was like, okay, get up. Go get back in the vehicle.
Wow.
I was like, sir, he's got that on his neck and that on his lower spine. He's fine. Okay,
Well.
sir. No problem. So I gathered up my materials and I went back to my truck. So that deployment was 6 months. Yeah, we got back in July. He was separated from the Army for medical by September.
Wow.
His injuries were so severe in his spine that he could barely walk.
And this jack off goes, get up.
Yep.
Well, we know who we don't want in charge of the platoon.
Well, the medic wasn't part of our or not medic, doctor. He was a doctor.
Yeah, Frankenstein.
Yeah,
yeah,
that kind of thing happened quite often.
that's just crazy. I mean,
I like to focus on the funny things that happened and the funny things we did, but there wasn't really much funny
no,
in that first 4 days that we were going in.
I wouldn't imagine there would be.
Scary, of course. Personal problems always happened, and all of our radios ran out of batteries, and so we had to actually talk to one another. That sucked.
I would imagine, yeah. Oh man, not him
Um,
again.
there was one very vivid part that I remember, and it was I don't know how much fiction you read or things like that. They talk about how um, someone who has been on fire smells like burned pork, right?
hmm
It's not actually what it smells like.
Ah,
About a mile away from the scene, we started smelling something horrendous. Uh,
yeah.
not like a barbecue, not like burned pork roast or anything like that. No, it was something horrible, and we
hmm
knew it was something horrible when we were coming up on it. But the vision of that thing that was on the side of the road it's something I'll never forget.
hmm
It's something that haunts me.
Yeah.
So no, I'll avoid things like that.
Yeah, of
Talking
course.
about things like that, but
Well, there are things that, and I think the issue with stuff like that is there are just certain things that there's no descriptor for it. There's
yeah,
no there's no word that qualifies. Um, and then to put it would be like explaining air,
yeah, and
right?
that's why I think that a lot of fiction writers use the term burned pork because
Yeah,
that's the worst smell that they can think of
yeah,
that other people could relate to. It's not the smell of burned pork.
no, no. So now, did you get like on that for that 4 days? Um, did you get were there attacks on the convoy or was it just
No, as a matter of
nerves?
fact, there was at one point, for some reason, we had ended up ahead of either our escort or very close to the tip of the spear where the fighting vehicles were.
Okay.
I'm not sure which, but I somehow I ended up closer to the front of the convoy, and I heard um, the company or battalion commander shouting at our convoy to stop in place because we were too close,
Yeah.
or we were ahead of the vehicles. I'm not sure which. But whatever the case was, we had to stop there because we had gotten way too close to the front.
Yeah. You guys are carrying fuel. Please back off.
But my company, didn't actually get shot at.
Okay.
And I know that well, a lot of people remember uh, Jessica Lynch, right? That's
Refresh.
the hero who didn't do anything in 2003.
Ah,
She was, I think she was the one who was captured, right?
I'm not
Uh,
100% sure off the top of my head.
Her convoy got lost or went
Okay.
off, or just took the wrong direction or something like that. Her convoy was ambushed, and I think her entire company was killed except for a handful of people, and she was captured.
Okay.
And when she was rescued, she was displayed as a hero for the whole country to see. There have been movies and things about her,
Okay.
movies and documentaries and stuff. Um, so that convoy is the only one that I know of out of all the support convoys that were actually attacked.
Okay.
The rest of the support convoys, we were kept safe.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what happened, what the whole story there was, but that didn't happen to us.
All right. So, um, I think we've covered we've covered a very short period of time, but uh, It's been an hour, so I think we'll put a pin in it here. So is there anything else you really want to say before you get to Camp Ram?
uh, the arrival at Objective Ram is one of the funnier stories that I like to tell.
Okay, well then let's do that one, and then we'll wrap this thing up. We'll end
Oh,
on a positive.
okay. You want to do that
Yeah,
now?
we'll end on a positive.
Ah, that works. Okay. So Objective Ram was the first place we went. That was our objective. That's where we ended up. Now, when we pulled in, it was still, dusty daylight. It wasn't,
Yeah.
it wasn't dark. It was actually fairly early in the morning, I believe. Um, anyway, we arrived there and started unloading all of our equipment. And it started getting grayer and darker and windier and dustier and darker and dustier. And we just kept unloading equipment. We were like, okay, this is our objective. This is where we're putting our bags. This is where we're putting our pumps. This is where we're putting our filter separators.
Yeah.
And the engineers that we had with us, they had their bulldozers running and their backhoes running and everything else. And they were just doing their business, right?
Yeah, doing the thing.
Yeah, it was just a line of 12 bags with
Mm-hmm.
hoses running across, and we were only going to do jet fuel for the entire, deployment. We weren't supposed to have automotive gasoline or anything like that. We weren't supposed to have diesel. So all we had was jet fuel. And so the 12 bags were all going to be the same thing. And so the engineers started pushing dirt, building these berms. And we all thought that the dust and the sand was coming from that,
Yeah.
right? Because it was windy. Yeah, of course. It's been windy for 4 days. It's been windy for 2 months we've been here. It's been windy, of course.
Yeah.
So it was wind and wind and wind and wind, and it just kept getting darker.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, it was black. You could not see in front of your face. You hold your hand up in front of your face, and you couldn't see your fingers.
Oh, lovely.
I mean, it was pitch black. Darkness. The only reason I was able to make it from my 5-ton to my platoon sergeant's Humvee was because I knew the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking down at my feet, trying not to stumble over rocks and things. It was absolutely black. And we
Mm-hmm.
could not see a thing. The sun was blotted out of the sky. Turns out it was one of the worst dust storms or sandstorms. Like you see those sandstorms in the
Yeah.
movies, where it's just a great big wall of sand coming at you.
Yeah.
We had been in those as well, but that's later on. This
Yeah.
is the first one that I've ever seen that built up gradually.
Okay.
And it may have been a combination. There may have been a wall of sand coming at us for all we knew, but the dump or the dozers and backhoes were working away, and so there was a lot of dust in the air. There was still convoys going through and past and everything else. So it may have been a wall of sand for all we knew, but it blacked out completely. And this is noon.
Yeah.
We had already set up 3 bags and we could not see a thing.
Oh, lovely.
So that lasted for about 30 minutes.
Oof.
And then it started raining.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it wasn't a heavy rain. It was just a bunch of sprinkles. They were big,
Yeah.
fat, heavy droplets, though. Turns out the reason they were big, fat, heavy droplets is because they were mud.
Oh, well.
However, it was the first time we had seen anything fall from the sky that wasn't dust
Yeah.
or a rocket.
Yeah.
or,
And it didn't
or
go
a
boom.
mortar, And so this water was falling, and a lot of the people in the convoy started stripping off their chemical suits and their overcoats and everything, and they were ecstatic that it was raining, and they were
Yeah.
dancing around in the rain. And then I guess the rain had knocked a lot of the dust out of the sky because we could just barely see again. It was kind of orangey at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I say orangey because I don't know. How do you describe that color? Sandy
Yeah.
orange?
Yeah.
So we could see again, and they were all covered from head to toe in mud. Oh, great. Now you guys got to use 5-gallon water cans to clean yourselves off. Get over there and clean yourself off. Put your uniform back on.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Oh
don't
my
grab the wrong
God.
5-gallon jug, or this could be a long day. And you ain't
So,
sleeping in my cabin if you do grab the wrong gallon. I'm telling you that right now. I
that's
will
funny.
kick you out.
Sleeping in a cabin. You're funny.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Get out of my tent or hole in the ground.
Yeah. Tents. Yay.
Yeah. And not
So,
even good tents either.
there you go.
All
There you
right.
go. That's
All
my
right.
funny story for the day.
All right. So we'll put a pin in it here and we will continue on in 2 weeks. So after Christmas. So I hope everyone has a good Christmas, and we will have karaoke on Christmas Day, and of course karaoke tomorrow night. And next week we will have the roundtable on Christmas Eve, where we will be talking about the ceasefire. So that should be very interesting. And also tomorrow, because I didn't get I was dead yesterday, so I didn't get the editing done. But tomorrow I'll have the What If series return tomorrow morning. So that should be fun. We're talking a very interesting topic on the what ifs, so that should be great. And hopefully, Mr. CCDV will be singing his lungs out tomorrow and on Christmas Day if he can make it.
La la
And
la 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 la
yes,
la.
yes. And then we will return right after Christmas for the continuation, part 5 of the stories with Mr. CCDV.
Hopefully, God
Hopefully.
willing, and the Lord
Yes.
tarries.
Yes. Yes. And hopefully my body starts to stop yelling at me. But I have people to kill and things to get mad at. So with that, I shall say as Mr. CCTV, do you have anything coming up on your channel? Proper or-
I've considered or reconsidered, I should say, doing Sunday nights.
Okay.
I don't want to call it. What was it called? Off the Rails Theater? No. What was
Oh,
it called?
short attention span theater.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
short attention span theater.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to call it that,
No.
but
Figure
I'm
it out.
considering doing Sunday nights again since last Sunday night was so much fun.
All right. Well, there you go.
I think
All
I can
right,
pull
folks.
off once a week.
Take a look out for Mr. CCDV. Subscribe to him if you wish. And but I want to thank everyone for joining us for these stories and putting up with my bad humor. But anyway, with that, as Richard would always say, thank you and good night.